Greetings once again, friends. Welcome back to the episode number 2, adventure number 2 in how to be a world-class Jesus broadcaster. And today is a very important day because we're coming together. And in effect, what we should always know is that when two people come together, a radio presenter and a radio or video viewer or listener, is something good could happen. It really could. And there actually, in many ways, that as it is happening, that either through radio or sometimes through the video, actually, there can be much, much more of a one-on-one conversation than there can be sometimes in a crowd or even in a group of people together. It can be, surprisingly, a very, quote, in the best sense of the word, an intimate conversation. As I tell people often, it's actually two good friends sharing a conversation. The difference, of course, is that in many, many cases, if it's the radio, both of them are blind. And so if they want to communicate, they have to be extra expressive and attentive because they are seeking to learn something, enjoy something, be entertained by something, perhaps build a relationship, all kinds of the human qualities that we like. Sometimes they can be mediated, always imperfectly, but mediated through the mass marketing media. Well, this is a special day also because many people are now preparing for the great media event. Radio and television around the world this entire week has been preparation for a football game. And keep that in mind. The Super Bowl is a football game. That's it. It's a sport that sixth graders can play, and high schoolers can play, college kids can play, and young men who are now at the top of the professional ranks can play. But it's a game. It's a football game. And the stakes are not terribly high because no matter whether you are a winner or a loser of the Super Bowl, you're going to make a ton of money. And everybody's going to be okay. Somebody will be a little bit happier because they won, and somebody will be maybe a little bit sad because they've lost. But remember, it's just a football game. But it has been hyped in its 59 years from something that was rather ordinary, and I can admit it that I actually saw the first one or two. I know I did. Yeah, I know I did. Because I was a Vikings fan and they got a good start. I think it was actually against the Kansas City Chiefs, and they were expected to win. And they didn't. And as a result of that, the Vikings have only been in a couple of Super Bowls, if you're a Viking fan, and they've never won a Super Bowl. So that's the way it is. The fun part of it is, though, is that it gives us a little bit of a lesson today as broadcasters into something that would be helpful for you to learn right now. Now, I'll point this out to you. I actually did a presentation like this, something like this, for a group of people who, yeah, of course, they were Jesus broadcasters. They were involved in church and ministry organizations, and 2 or 3 of them actually were business people who were doing some of the work in their church, and they were volunteering, and so they came along too. And the thing I taught them today, or will teach you today, hopefully, I remember one of them said, this is great. This will help me sell more insurance. And then he looked around and said, actually, this is good for a sermon too. So there's a lengthy tease as to what this is all about. How to be a world-class Jesus broadcaster. Now, one of the things that you will learn when you get serious about this is that there are things that are very, very different from the usual. A broadcast, a radio or TV broadcast is not a classroom. It is not where the people give lectures. I pointed that out. In effect, it's not that. People can walk out anytime they want. They can quit anytime they want. Uh, they can do whatever. They can leave, of course. And it's not really very good in terms of it being like a sermon or a church service. It is considerably different. And let me just show you how that might work out for you. One of the things you need to learn basic right off the bat is that in marketing media, which is what radio and TV are, they've gone for a simple formula. Now, I've enhanced it and added to it, but I'm surprised at how many people don't know anything about this. And as far as I know, it's not taught in very many situations. And more and more, I'm discovering that particularly those who are planning for a professional church ministry or professional religious ministry, many of them have never had any training in, as I say, being, in front of the camera and behind the microphone in a media way, in a media presence. Now, they may have done it. They still may be doing it, but they were never really trained at it. And I was at the request of a gentleman one time who simply said, and when he learned that I had been involved in missionary broadcasting, said, well, I'd like you to come and speak to a number of our young pastors. Maybe some of them would like to get involved in radio. And as I pointed out, it went very, very well. They enjoyed it. And afterwards, the gentleman who was trying to kind of chaperone the group and be a bit of a mentor to these younger men and women came up to me and said, I wish I had learned this 20 years ago. Not that I would have gotten involved in radio. Maybe I could have. But I'd have been a lot better preacher, pastor, if I had learned some of the basics of how to be in radio, how to be in television, when I was and doing much more pastoral preaching. Here we go. When you're trying to move people, remember, storytelling is one of the most effective, probably the only effective means of communication. Now, here's where we're going with this, because I want you to watch this. As you're watching the Super Bowl commercials, how they may be, and some of them may not, trying to fit this formula in. Here we go. It's called ADA. Now, I've modified it. It used to be just 4 letters, but I've discovered that there needs to be 5. AIDDA. AIDDA. Now, here's what it means. People are there. They may be paying attention. They may not be. Remember, oftentimes when people are either listening to the radio or even watching television, they're also doing something else. So what you have to do is you have to get their attention. Attention. As one of my friends at the BBC said to me, he said, remember, they're doing something else. Stop them. Seek to get their attention. Then, once you've got their attention, now you have to keep them interested. So the next thing is there must be something that follows the attention getter, that is the interest keeper. How do you keep their attention? How do you keep their interest? Attention, interest. You can put those two words together if you want. Now, the core is eventually and very quickly, in many cases, they have to find that there is something there they want to hear, or something they want to buy, or something that would make their life interesting. In effect, you have to come to a point that they have some desire to either learn more, hear more, buy that. Something has to happen, which is continually helping them say, that would be nice. Oh, I would like that. You have to get them to the point where they want to keep listening, keep watching. Or if you're trying to sell them something, they're saying to themselves, I think I would like that. That would be nice. Attention, interest, desire. I want to hear more. I want to know more. I desire to maybe buy that. Then you have to come to a point where we'll use the Donald Trump idea. You have to make a deal. Donald Trump is the deal maker. Again, remember, as I oftentimes tell young men and women, try and write your first book before you're 40. And at the age of 39, Donald Trump, young real estate developer, wrote a book called The Art of the Deal. And it became a bestseller, and it helped begin to make his career. And of course, you have to understand, as people are watching him do all these things now, keep in mind, the theory behind Donald Trump is life is a deal. It's continual deal making, whether it's a political interest, whether it's business, whatever it is, people are continually making deals in life. And what you need to do is learn how to make good deals. And of course, he would be the first to say is if you make a deal that's not necessarily a good deal for them too, then you're going to be in trouble, because then they won't make any more deals with you. So you have to make it the proverbial, if you can, a win-win deal. That means you say, hey, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to become. This is what you need to change. One of my good friends said, that's kind of what Jesus was saying. In many cases, he was saying, after telling a story or doing a presentation, he didn't give a lot of sermons, but he's coming to the point of saying, okay, now here's what we have to do. Here's the deal. Attention, interest, desire, decision, or deal. A deal will make a deal. I've decided we'll make a deal. There's one more step. Now, here's a trick question, all right? Because it sounds stupid, but it's not, because it's a joke, all right? This is a joke. Warning, joke coming. There are 3 ducks who are sitting on a log, and 2 of them decide to jump in. How many ducks are left? Now, you say, yeah, there's something there. You're right. The answer is there are 3 ducks left, because they only decided to jump in. What do they have to do? They have to jump in. Action. You have to do something. So you have to tell people how to do something. Dial 1-800, go to this website, come forward, turn your life over, vote for, buy this app. How to take action. Now, the reason I point all of this out is the people who are really good at marketing and selling, who are putting together a good promo or commercial, they're trying to get all 5 of those things done in 60 seconds. How about that? Or at least get a lot of them done. Got attention. So you didn't go to the bathroom, you didn't leave, you didn't flip, you got their attention. You kept them interested, so they stuck with you. At least they're sticking with you. Now they're more than interested. They're saying, well, there's something here that I want to hear more about, or I want to finish the story, or I want to buy. I'm thinking that would be nice. That would be nice. And then you have to quickly lead them from desire into, okay, here's the deal. Here's the deal. Decide now. This is the deal. And then, well, what do I do now? Here's how you take action. Here's how you call. Here's how you make a step. Here's how you begin. Here's what you have to do. Here is the action you have to take. Now, all good selling, in many cases, follows, as the insurance salesman said, yeah, that's what I have to do. I never thought of it that way. But most of selling, now this isn't just where you have something. See, I'm telling a friend of mine now who's got a lot of good stuff to sell, but the problem is he offers it for sale. He offers it. He puts it out there, like it's on the shelf, or he shows it. He has a picture of it. And in the video that comes across, it shows what it is. But the problem is, no one is selling it. They're just offering it. And here it is. Look at it. And no one's there saying, do you have any questions? Let me show you this. Hey, would this work? So that's where this is leading to. Now, in many cases, we will discover that Jesus is working in many, many ways with the way he does his work, using consciously or unconsciously, well led, that those are some of the principles that go in to making the deal, making the sale, getting the vote, getting confidence, getting trust. And so I would just encourage you now, if you've never had any practice before, is to see if you can be very much aware of how, as you become a world-class Jesus broadcaster, that you are also aware that the way the media works is very much under the formula of A, I, D, D, A. Watch the commercials, watch the promos, watch the way successful people sometimes get their way in how they speak, how they teach, maybe how they preach, how they lead. See if they are using that formula. That's enough for today. As you are watching the Super Bowl commercials, something like that, see a little bit of how that formula is being put to work by obviously some very, very, very good pros. And then sometimes what you'll see is they got so carried away with trying to be creative and win the best commercial award rather than actually selling something award, that they lost their way. Is they might have won the cleverest and the creative commercial, but you say, what was it selling? What was it advertising? And that happens too. So there we go, my friends. I hope this has been helpful to you. Now, please keep in mind, we are going to make sure going forward that this program is produced and recorded with an audience, that it will be a Zoom conversation, that you can be a part of the actual production of this by being in the audience, and then, of course, being a part of the program. So please keep that in mind. But now you have, if you go back, look at the first episode adventure. Now look at this with episode 2, because what you are discovering is that you are becoming a broadcaster. Now, did you know that I haven't said a thing about the microphone to buy or any of that other stuff, because we're not interested in you just learning how to do a podcast. That's not going to work. You have to learn how to be a broadcaster, not just do a podcast, not just do a radio program. There is a state of mind, a state of spirit, a state of high awareness that will eventually help you be really good at being a broadcaster. Maybe good to great, maybe even world class. Hey, all the best and blessings to you. Welcome back. And we're going to continue on the road and on the journey to help you to be a world-class Jesus broadcaster. Best and blessings. Always close with a benediction. Till next time. Bye for now.